Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to Answers Life. I hope everyone's doing great today. I'm going to try to get an outdoor video in before it starts to storm. It's been storming almost. It's been storming every day where I'm at. So I'm going to try to get another video in before it starts to storm again outside. And due to my crappy internet, I'm afraid to use my computer because in the event that my internet service runs, malfunctions due to the storms, I'm not going to be able to upload my videos in a timely manner. So that's why I'm having to use my phone. Because with my phone, if my Wi-Fi doesn't work due to my crappy internet that I have out here, then I can switch over to my hotspot and then I can continue to upload the video. It's going to still take a minute, but it'll be a little faster. So, anyways, we're going to discuss a topic that I have not discussed before on this channel. Now, for those of you that have been watching me for any amount of time recently, I basically talk about anything on this channel. Well, close to anything on this channel. And every so often, I might throw a few traveling blogs your way too, just to keep things somewhat interesting. But today, the topic is going to be, I can't say the word because I'll get in trouble. I think that's stupid, but it is what it is. It's YouTube guidelines. But we're going to be talking about what should happen to people that do inappropriate things to children. I mean, I'm pretty sure many of you who watch the news or you even watch YouTube like I do, you have came across your fair share of stories of people in high places, people that are in place of power or in place of trust that have done inappropriate things to children. Your pastors, your priests, your school teachers, law enforcement officials, politicians, all the way down to even their own parents. The pillars of the community. I think you guys get what I'm trying to say here. So I'm going to try to make this video somewhat fun, but at the same time, this topic is a very serious topic to discuss. And it needs to be discussed. I believe it does anyway. So, what would you guys do? I mean, what kind of punishment do you guys think should be handed down to an individual that does something inappropriate to children? I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you guys think should happen? Now, I'm pretty sure many of you are going to say these people ought to be taken off the face of the earth, never to be seen again. Honestly, I can't say I would disagree, but I have an idea which in a minute I'll discuss. Now, there has been, and obviously, I'm pretty sure many of you have also seen many of these YouTube, for a lack of better wording, I'm pretty sure many of you have seen these YouTube vigilante channels that go after people that do or they attempt to do inappropriate things to children. And I'm glad those people are out here doing God's work. I really am, because those kind of disgusting people need to be exposed. And they need to be punished. And the majority of these individuals that have been exposed on those channels have probably done it in real life. They just never got caught. Which is why many of them feel so comfortable in going online and being a predator. And there's been a few states that have, or at least are starting to crack down a little harder on those type of crimes, such as Louisiana, Florida, and depending on who the judge presiding over the case is, even up in Michigan, which is also good to see. And let's see. So yeah, I mean, and also, I'm gonna ask you guys one more question. I'm gonna give you guys a scenario, and then I want to hear from you guys in the comments what you guys think should happen. Now, the other question I have for you guys is, let's take an individual who is 18 or 19. I mean, let's take a male who's 18 or 19. You know, they're a senior in high school, and they're just they're just graduating high school. You know, and let's say a chick comes up to them. You know, they think oh dude look good and everything. Oh dude might find her attractive, so they get to talking. Let's say this chick lies about her age and she says she's 18, or she might say she's even 19, when in reality she's only, let's say, 15. So the man, well, the male who, the imaginary male that I'm gonna talk about, he's imaginary, he's not real, but the imaginary male that I'm gonna talk about, let's say he's 19. And he gets with this chick on an intimate level, assuming that she's at least 18 years of age. And then he finds out later that no, she's not 18, she was only 15. And he didn't know that she was 15 because she lied about her age. So, one thing leads to another. Old girl goes home, parents find out what's going on. Parents call law enforcement. Now, law enforcement is at this young man's door, arresting him for statutory. And remember, this young man had no idea that she was 15. He thought that she was 18 or 19 because, let's say he thought that she was 18 because a lot of times when these young ladies lie about their age, obviously I use lady loosely because in this example she's only 15, but let's say she lied about her age and said she was 18. Now, what do you guys think should happen to a male who's 19 in this particular scenario? I would like to know. I'm just curious what you guys think. I'm gonna answer that one right away, and then I'll get to the other thing that I was talking about. Now, in this particular example, I think what should happen is, for one, provided that there's evidence that he genuinely didn't know this young lady's age, provided that there's evidence that old girl lied about her age, I don't think somebody like him should be labeled as a predator. I don't. Because in this particular scenario, he genuinely didn't mean to do what, he didn't mean to commit that type of a crime. Because having he known that she was only 15, he would have left her alone. Because this imaginary male that I'm using, he's not an animal. He's a normal human being who is a decent human being. He's not a predator. Now, I would say if this individual was, let's say, in his 30s or 40s, or even in his mid-20s, and old girl was 15, I would say at that point, yeah, he a predator and he needs to be dealt with accordingly. And just to clear the air, no, I do not condone any male that's 18 to get with anybody that's not of age. No, I do not condone that at all. I just decided to throw out that example because I was curious what you guys would think. And like I said, for the scenario that I just ran off to you guys, I don't think this male was at fault. So I don't think he should be punished or labeled as a predator. And I know some of you are going to disagree with what I'm getting ready to say, but I think the young lady that lied about her age should be the one to get punished. And that's my take on that one. Now, as far as what I think should happen to an individual that does inappropriate things to kids, I think the second that that individual, I think the second that there's evidence indicating that that individual has done inappropriate things to children or inappropriate things to a child, the second that there's evidence to prove that person's guilt, B, after they get convicted of such a charge, I think as soon as all that happens, that person should be moved. I think every state in the union should have a special place for all your predators to live amongst each other. That's what I think. I think, and on top of that, I think maybe as a country we should invest in an island to where some of them can be shipped off to this island and they can live amongst each other. And they're going to have to live on this island, or they're going to have to live in a particular part of the state. They're going to have to stay there for the rest of their life. So I'm going to give you guys an example. Like every state in the union should have a piece of the state carved out to where if a person is convicted, if a person has been proven to do something inappropriate against children, and they've been found guilty and been convicted, all those individuals should be forced to move to that particular part of the state that has been designated for those kind of people to reside. And in that particular part of the state, and every state should have a area like that. And I also believe there should be an island that we can also send these people off to. But I believe these people should be amongst themselves. And in that particular part of the state or on that island, obviously no children, nobody under the age of 18 will be allowed to enter in those territories. And those territories should have armed security. These areas ought to be fenced in. And at every entrance, there should be armed security. Or better yet, police officers. That way, if anyone gets acting a fool, they can go ahead and detain them and arrest them right there on the spot. So at every entrance, there should be actual police officers. In fact, through these particular communities, I think these communities ought to have a police force that, they ought to have a separate police force, I believe, just to make sure that our children are safe, that there's no minors under the age of 18 sneaking into these areas for any reason. There's no predators that are having our kids in those areas for any reason. And for the family members of these predators that want to go and they want to visit these individuals, I guess, to each his own, because there's a lot of people out here that, despite the fact that their loved one may have been accused and found guilty of such a crime, they still love that individual. That individual could be their brother, it could be their father, it could even be their mother or their sister or their aunt. But they still love that person. They still care for that person. They still want to stay in touch and have contact with that person. And I think they should be able to do that if that's what they desire. Again, I'm not going to say whether I agree or disagree. That's not a decision that's up to me to make. I'm just going to say there's people out here that that's how they feel. So, to accommodate those family members, the rules ought to be when they go into these areas that are designated for people that have been accused of doing the unspeakable to the innocent. Obviously, nobody under the age of 18 ought to go into these areas. Period. No excuse, no reason. And these individuals, for no reason, are they to leave these areas. They are to stay in these areas, period. Like in these areas that I'm talking about, these imaginary areas I'm talking about, which I think we ought to make a reality in this country to keep our kids safe. I think in these areas, everything that we have out here in general society, they need to have. Like what I'm talking about is, their own police station, their own fire department, their own stores, their own hospitals, everything. That way, these individuals will have no reason whatsoever to have to come into general society. Everything that they need will be right in their own little neck of the woods. That way, the chances of them having contact with minors will be zero. And obviously, when it comes to social media, either A, they shouldn't have access to social media, or B, if they're going to have access to social media, because social media is how we do things these days, I think their access to social media should be limited. It should be limited, and this should also be closely monitored by local law enforcement agencies to make sure they're not doing anything inappropriate that they ain't got no business doing. But I believe if we took all these individuals who are predators and we put them and they're forced to have to live together in one area for the rest of their life, rather it be on an island somewhere, or rather it be in a Pacific area of every state, I think that in itself will improve the safety of our children. And again, what do you guys think about my idea? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. But I think if this country enacted something like that, I think it would make this country that much better of a country. Because that way as a nation, we can keep better tabs of people that are predators. We can keep better tabs like that. And they're all in one place. I mean, I don't care if you're a man or if you're a woman. If you get caught and convicted and there's evidence against you that you were out here being a predator, then yes, all of those type of people belong in this imaginary area, in these imaginary areas. And these people, like I said, they are to stay in these areas for the rest of their natural life. I don't care if they claim to have done it once or they've done it 1,000 times. I don't care if this is the first time of them being caught or if they've been caught several other times. I don't care. To me, we need to nip these type of crimes in the bud. And obviously, all this is to be done after they serve time in prison. Just saying. These people should never, ever in their life, ever again, have access to general society. Because having access to general society means they have access to our little ones, to the innocent. And that's wrong. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be like that. So I know some of you are like, what the hell did I just watch? What the hell am I watching? But you know, I just wanted to do something a little different on this channel. I try to keep things interesting on this channel. I mean, you know, it's called Andrew's Life for a reason. Like whatever thoughts I have on my mind, some of them might be a little crazy. You know, if they're not too crazy, I'm gonna put it on this channel, and y'all can, you know, interact with me in the comments. All right, folks, that's all I got for this one. Stay blessed.